All right, today on The Explainer, we're diving into a theory that is, well, it's pretty out there. It links a really bizarre weather event to consciousness itself. And believe it or not, this whole rabbit hole starts with just one very dramatic-sounding German word. That word? Kugelblitz. I mean, it just sounds intense, right? It's the key that unlocks this entire idea. So, any idea what it might mean? So, let's unpack this mystery. This word describes something you've probably heard about, even if you've never heard this particular name for it. Okay, so Kugelblitz, it's just the German name for ball lightning. You know, these glowing, floating orbs of light that people have seen for centuries, usually popping up during thunderstorms. And here's the thing, they're real. People see them. But for the longest time, science has had a really tough time explaining what on earth they are. But, you know, science moves on. Our understanding gets better, and so does the language we use. So today, there's a much more technical, scientific term for these things, and that term is plasmoids. Basically, a self-contained little blob of plasma. This is a huge step, right? It takes us out of the realm of just mysterious stories and puts us squarely into physics. We're talking about a definable thing. And this is where the theory we're looking at today really takes off into some wild territory. So, if you thought calling them plasmoids was the big reveal, buckle up. That's just the starting point. The theory we're digging into suggests something way more radical. It's not just about what these plasmoids are. It's about what, or maybe even who, is behind the wheel. Yeah, we started on solid ground, observable physics. But this hypothesis, it doesn't just go a little further, it goes way further. And here it is, the absolute core of the idea. Get this. The theory proposes that these plasmoids aren't just random acts of nature. They're under intelligent control. Now, before you dismiss that, the source material presents this not as just some wild guess, but as a conclusion drawn from research by physicists and astrobiologists. It's a massive leap, for sure, so let's break down what that actually implies. So we're talking about a really specific kind of intelligence here. It's a type of non-human intelligence, or NHI. And according to this theory, it's not somewhere far away in space, it's around us, like all the time. But here's the most critical part. The theory claims these things can be artificially stimulated and directed. That's huge because it suggests we could actually interact with them, in a lab. It implies it's testable. Okay, so as if an ever-present intelligence floating around in our atmosphere isn't mind-bending enough, the theory makes one last, absolutely massive connection. It ties this external, physical thing directly to our own internal world. This is where it all comes together, bridging two completely different worlds. The theory says there are two ways to influence these plasmoids. First, through regular physics. You can literally direct them with technology. But the second way, this one's the real bombshell. It's what's called a psi connection. The claim is that there's actual empirical evidence that they can be influenced by human consciousness, by our thoughts. I mean, that is a staggering idea. It's a direct link between our minds and the physical stuff of the universe. So there you have it. That's the full picture. It's a theory that tries to build a bridge between the physical world we can touch and measure and the non-physical world of consciousness. It's almost like a theory of everything in its own way, isn't it? Now, to really get your head around how big this idea could be, we need to look at one number, 99.9%. So what on earth makes up 99.9% of the known universe? Yep, the answer is plasma. The sun, the stars, all those nebulae, pretty much all the visible stuff out there is made of plasma. So let's just connect the dots for a second. If this theory is right, and if these plasmoids, which are made of plasma, can hold intelligence, and if plasma is basically everywhere, well, the implications are just wow, they're staggering. And that brings us to the final big question. We started with a weird German word, and we ended up at the fundamental nature of the entire cosmos. So the theory really leaves us with this to chew on. If our universe is basically electric, and if that electricity can support intelligence, then could it be that a form of consciousness has been right here, under our noses, this whole time, hiding in plain sight? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.